Outside the door, I overheard Michael's words. In his previous life, he was a domineering CEO and a member of the Gu family. Both Mrs. Gu and Mr. Gu would eventually compromise because the decision-making power within the Gu family rested with Michael back then. But now, he's just a high school student and everything he has comes from the Gu family. By saying that he is setting himself up for quite a challenge in the future, I didn't need to hear any more of the conversation. I felt incredibly foolish for ruining my life because of those two people in my past life. How could I have been so stupid? The reason why the dean summoned Mrs. Gu was because Liam mentioned at the dinner table just now that teenage romance should be dealt with seriously to rectify the school's atmosphere. Otherwise, other students would follow suit, and the school would be in chaos, making it difficult to manage. Liam's tone was casual, but I felt like he was doing it for me. I don't know why I had this feeling, as there had been little interaction between Liam and me before, and we weren't familiar with each other, yet I could sense Liam's kindness towards me. Inside the office, after regaining her composure, Mrs. Gu angrily pointed at Ava and exclaimed, "You actually want to marry her over my dead body? The only daughter-in-law I recognize is Ethan." Mrs. Gu was fiery and snobbish. She didn't particularly like me. What she liked was a Shu family as status, and alliance with the Shu family would elevate the Gu family as status even further. But marrying a penniless student like Ava would not only bring no benefit to the Gu family, but might also offend the Shu family. Although Michael and I weren't engaged yet, we had grown up together since childhood, and in the eyes of our parents, we were already a couple. This was something both families took for granted. If Michael got involved with this poor student now, and the news spread to the Shu family, it would undoubtedly cause dissatisfaction. When Mrs. Gu received the dean's call, she didn't believe it, but now that her son was defending that poor student and even contradicting her, she naturally disliked Ava even more. She raised her hand and scolded Ava, "You so young and don't know any better. How dare you shamelessly seduce my son? A pheasant wants to become a phoenix. Not a chance." In Mrs. Gu's eyes, her son was exceptional, and if it weren't for Ava's seduction, he would never have turned out like this. Ava bit her lip gently, tears rolling down her cheeks, shaking her head repeatedly. I really didn't seduce Michael." In Michael's eyes, he had a natural fondness for Ava, and seeing her grievous appearance now only made him feel more pained. He stepped forward to block Ava and retorted without hesitation, "And, Mom, I don't like Ethan at all. I fell in love with Ava at first sight, and it's me who pursued her. It has nothing to do with him. I've made up my mind to marry Ava." Michael's parents looked at their son in disbelief. Everything had been fine just yesterday. How could he be so obsessed today? The dean, who had been watching the commotion for a while, had to intervene now. "Good student, it's up to you whom you want to marry in the future, but teenage romance is not allowed in school. Your behavior this has already affected the school's atmosphere, and this matter must be addressed as a warning." With that, he turned his gaze to Ava and said, "Ava, you're a special recruit this year with excellent grades. You're destined for a good university in the future. If your grades suffer because of romance now, it's a matter that will affect you for life, and you'll regret it later." The dean held high hopes for Ava. Despite her impoverished background, she had always excelled academically, which was why she had been chosen as a special recruit this year. He hadn't expected that Ava, on her first day of transfer, would get involved with Michael. The dean was somewhat troubled. Children from poor families only had the path of education to excel and distinguish themselves, unlike the sons and daughters of wealthy families. Once they lose focus, their entire future could be ruined. It wasn't easy to climb the social ladder in the world of academia. Although strict, the dean was a kind person. He was genuinely advising Ava now, but unexpectedly, Ava fearfully clutched Michael's sleeve, tears streaming down her face, looking like a lovesick couple about to be separated. She trembled as she spoke. "Michael." The dean was at a loss for words. No matter how deep Michael and Ava's feelings were, this was school, and punishment was necessary. Both of them were given a major demerit, and had to write apologies. Even Ava's scholarship was revoked. Although Ava regretted losing the scholarship, she thought that with Michael by her side, the scholarship didn't matter. As long as she clung tightly to Michael, she could live a good life without studying so hard. Although she thought this way, she continued to shed tears, looking. Michael watched her with pity, while Mrs. Gu was furious and left. Protected by Michael, Mrs. Gu didn't want to quarrel with her son too much, and it was also in the school. If things escalated, it would only embarrass the Gu family. They would have to discuss it later at home. By this time, I had returned to the classroom, where Sophia was gossiping next to me. Ethan, how come you called that young uncle from the Gu family? Yu Yao was genuinely curious. I had never mentioned to her before that the Shu and Gu families were related in any way. Although Liam's attitude had been cold, he had invited me to eat with them. I didn't know what Liam was thinking, and I didn't even understand why he had helped me in my past life. However, I could explain the matter of addressing Liam as little uncle. So, I recounted the distant relative connection between the Shu and Gu families, which was tenuous at best. Yu Yao winked and nudged me with her elbow, grinning mischievously. Liam is the next head of the Gu family. He doesn't seem like the type to show special favor to distant relatives. The Gu family was vast, with many branches, and the relationships between wealthy families were intricate. The Gu family probably had countless distant relatives, and if Liam had to take care of every one of them, he would be overwhelmed. Moreover, his ability to lead the Gu family was not solely based on his status as the heir. Liam himself is also an exceptional figure. Despite being only 23 years old, he has already graduated from Peking University with a master's degree, skipping grades. Since he was 16, he has been involved in the Gu group, managing the company while studying, achieving excellence in both. He's simply a prodigy. There are many rumors about Liam, all saying that he is aloof, uninterested in women, decisive and ruthless in business, with an unwavering say in matters. How could such a Liam take special care of a distant relative? I fell silent, replaying the lunch scenario in my mind. The dishes Liam ordered later were all my favorites. Was this just a coincidence? According to outside rumors, Liam is a cold and distant person, but today at the table, he repeatedly placed dishes in my bowl, showing considerate care. Though he didn't say much, I could feel his gentleness. I couldn't understand Liam in my past life, and I still can't in this one. But I can clearly sense that Yan Wen has no malice towards me. But if today's lunch wasn't a coincidence, how could Liam know what I like to eat? As I was lost in thought, someone rushed in from outside, straight to my desk, and slammed their hand on the table. I am telling you, I only have feelings in my heart. No matter what tricks you play, they won't work. I won't like you, you wicked woman. The person who came in was none other than Michael, just out of the dean's office. With his shout, all the classmates' gazes converged on us again. He was furious, his anger directed solely at me. In Michael's mind, if I hadn't interfered, how could the school have invited Mrs. Gu? And Mrs. Gu kept saying that the only daughter-in-law she recognized was me, yet she insulted Wang Qing like that. It must be something I did. Michael thought this way because in my past life, I didn't hesitate to make things difficult for Eva when she wasn't around. So just now, when Eva innocently asked about me, Michael immediately connected it to me. No one else would do such a thing. I looked up to meet Gu Xian's angry gaze, with Eva standing behind him, looking flustered and unsure. Eva put on an innocent face, biting her lip lightly, and tugged on Michael's arm. Ian, don't be like this. Maybe it wasn't Za's doing. She pretended to be innocent on the outside, but inside, she was triumphant. I just casually mentioned it, and Ian came to confront me. It seems that this white moon's position in Ian's heart is not that important after all. Sophia also got angry and was about to stand up to defend me, but I gently patted her hand. Then, I stood up and slapped Gu Shuyan across the face. With that slap, the classroom fell silent. You.